We are reaching the business end of the 2022 ADAC Formula 4 Championship. After this weekend, there is just one more round left, and with Prema not here at the Lausitzring this weekend, the championship could so easily be turned on its head. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to what is a fairly grey and miserable Lausitzring. We are located in Klettwitz in the state of Brandenburg in East Germany. Conditions are warm, 19.4 degrees centigrade, but they are most certainly not dry. That man there, Taylor Barnard, starting on pole position for this, the first of three F4 races this weekend. And he is on the wet weather tyres, as indeed are the rest of the grid, because it has been raining on and off all morning. These are very, very tricky conditions for the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. It has been dry all week long. In fact, it was a heat wave this week, but the weather broke down late yesterday with drizzle, and overnight we've had heavy rain, and it has been raining on and off today. It is due to clear as the day proceeds, but it ain't gonna clear much in the next half an hour, I don't think, and that is how long this race is going to be. Well, in fact, it's going to be a 27-minute race. Race has been shortened by 3 minutes because of the conditions. The cars are going to have 2 formation laps just to allow these young drivers to get some heat into the tyres. Look at the level of camber on the number 19 car, Valentin Klus. It just gives you a great indication. It's at an angle there. You see how much camber they're running on the front wheels of these cars as they pull away at a snail's pace because the track is so slippery. It was Taylor Barnard who did a great job in qualifying this morning. He's doing a great job at the moment. He's arriving at turn 1 before the rest of them are even rolling. This is the first of the 2 formation laps for the ADAC Formula 4. It is race 13 of an 18 race season, and we have 3 races this weekend. Race 1 today. Race 2 will be tomorrow morning, and then race 3, which, if you're new to Formula 4, the exciting bit is the top 8 from race 2 are reversed. That's the top 8 finishers to form the grid for race 3. So the winner of race 2 starting 8th on the grid for race 3, and that always presents excitement. As previously mentioned, Prema are not here this weekend, which means the top 2 in the championship, Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Rafael Camara, are not in attendance. And although Andrea Kimi Antonelli has a monstrous lead in the Drivers' Championship of 98 points, Taylor Barnard must be rubbing his hands together because he has a great opportunity to close in at the top of that championship with the Prema cars not being here. And he's done the best possible job at the start by putting the car on pole position. And if he can finish, that will be 25 points out of that, well, it's a 102-point deficit between first and third, which is where Taylor Barnard is in the championship. And of course, if he can do the same in the next couple of races, suddenly it will be game on. And anybody who thinks that Kimi Antonelli, when he returns, if he returns to the next round at Nürburgring, will just carry on as he left off. I have to remind you, last time out at the Nürburgring, he didn't find it that easy. And in fact, Taylor Barnard was doing much of the winning. And there is a car that has already run off the track. That's the driver that we welcome to the series here, Ruiki Li. The Chinese driver who's joined us racing and making his debut here. And the wet conditions, well, it's a baptism. I'd say it's a baptism of fire. It's a baptism of water for Ruiki Li. A little bit of a trip across the gravel. No harm done. He's a driver who's come from karting, so he should know how to hang the back end out a bit. But these cars are an altogether different experience from karting, so I'm told. Not that I've tried either. Taylor Barnard is the pole sitter, though. Let's have a look at the starting grid, and it is Taylor Barnard who starts on pole position. Kasper Stuka for Us Racing, we welcome him back for the 2nd time this year alongside Nikita Bedrin, one of the entertainers of Formula 4 Germany, is alongside Valentin Klus, and Rasmus Utz-Simmies lines up alongside Zach David. We welcome Zach David to the grid of Formula 4 this year. Jonas Reed and Nandavid Birnbachby are on row 4, and on on row 5, Michael Sauter and Ricky Lee in the other of the US racing cars. And bringing up the rear, Samir Ben for Genza Motorsport. Not the largest grid you've ever seen in Formula 4, but size doesn't mean anything. And I'm just looking, there's cars going backwards. I'm just looking out the commentary box window. There's a car backwards, and it wasn't that one. Car 37. So Kasper Stuka, the driver who's starting on the front row, and that's the one I saw out the window. Car that has done a complete turnaround, and that is Samir Ben, the Swiss driver, being caught out by these conditions. So despite the fact, and in fact, the car behind taking avoiding action, that looks like Michael Sauter to me, taking avoiding action. So high drama indeed. In fact, I think it might have been Samir Ben. But high drama indeed, as cars are spinning, and we haven't even got the race underway yet. As you can see, that is the point standing. Antonelli, Kamara, Larson, Wirtz and Orton are all not here. So it is, well, hopefully it's going to be a feast for Taylor Barnard. The British driver will probably think Christmas has come early, particularly if all the cars behind can eliminate themselves in these slippery conditions. That was the 2 formation laps. If the race is half as exciting as those formation laps, we are in for quite a treat. 27 minutes of slippery and sliding ADAC Formula 4 Germany lies ahead of us at this circuit. We're at the Lausitzring, a track that is 3.478 kilometers around, equates to about 2.16 miles, as we see Valentin Kloos just rejoining after his little moment. The circuit has 12 turns, 7 to the left and 5 to the right. The driver's running in an anti-clockwise direction, so if the water wasn't enough to throw them, they're also running the other way round of what they're used to. So the field has passed Valentin Kloos, so I am thinking he is going to have to join at the back because he spun from his position, but he can't retake his position in the pack once the pack has gone past him. We have indication from the back that all are present correct. All engines are running. Whether they all make it around turn 1 remains to be seen. The red lights are out. The car's wheel spinning. Well, Kasper Stuka not doing anything. He has gone to a complete stop. And of course, he's blocked Zach David behind him. But look who's got the jump into turn 1. Nikita Bedrin. What a great start from him. He has been an entertainer all season long, and that's exactly what Taylor Barnard did not want to see. The young driver of the number 15 car getting the jump into turn 1. So here come the rest of the cars. You can see from the view on the camera lens that the rain is still falling. Onto part of the tri-oval, of course, this circuit at the Lausitzring. Initially a tri-oval and then a road course built within it, but we do use sections of the tri-oval. The tri-oval itself surrounded by a very solid and very unmovable concrete wall, and drivers getting a slide on further back, and that was Samir Ben, whose adventures continue. Now Valentin Kloos, one of 2 German drivers, and there is the other one, Jonas Reed. So they're both having problems, and Jonas Reed looks like he might have a bit of damage. Keep an eye, though, on Kasper Stuka, trying to work his way back through the field. So all that hard work in qualifying, and these cars are completely jumbled up on the first corner as they try to negotiate the slippery turns of the Lausitzring. And that's a nice bit of drifting from Jonas Reed. Unfortunately, it went just a little bit too far round. He gets onto the gravel trap. The important bit is it doesn't look like he's damaged the front wing. Those are normally the first to go when they get out on the gravel. There's a car out on track. We haven't got safety car indicated, but there is a car escorting out on track. A bit of confusion there. It's Nikita Bedrin who's leading the way. Taylor Barnard in second, 1.6 seconds behind, and then Rasmus Ute-Simmies in third, ahead of Michael Sauter. And Michael Sauter, the privateer, the father-son team, and Michael, who is an ever-improving force in ADAC Formula 4 Germany, doing well up into P4, and looking to have got a good handle on these wet conditions. So Nikita Bedrin leading Taylor Barnard, and both of those drivers for PHM Racing and PHM, who have been really committed to the ADAC Formula 4 Germany Championship this year, and we thank them for that. So tiptoeing around the corners, Nikita Bedrin, who is still looking for his first win this year in the ADAC Formula 4. Taylor Barnard, who won 2 of the last 3 races, both that were at the Nürburgring last time we saw them, which was 2 weeks ago. Tiptoeing around the slightly banked turn 11, turn 12, and you get a great perspective of the tri-oval circuit as we look along the pit straight. This is the position on the circuit that creates the best opportunities for overtaking, but it's a brave man who steps out of the gloom and the spray and the mist to overtake around here. And that corner into turn 1 is quite tricky. You can see it's fairly downhill as Mikael Sauter up into 3rd place, relegating Rasmus Simis to P4. So Mikael Sauter, driver in his 2nd year of ADAC Formula 4 Germany, who really seems to be the one who has got to grips with these conditions the best. Rasmus Simis looking to come back in the number 24 Genza Motorsport car. Genza, another team who we've enjoyed all year long in the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. So tiptoeing around, there is Mikael Sauter in P3. He certainly seems to be the man on a mission. Our leader is the fastest car on the track, 137.986. Of course, Nikita Bedrin has the benefit of a clear track in front of him. Mikael Sauter, after such a strong performance, gets it all wrong, off into the gravel track. Come on, keep it going, keep that foot down. And he is going to have dropped a long way back. So Mikael Sauter, after such a solid start, but there's cars in front of him going off as well. So Kasper Stuka, and he's having quite an adventure here at the Lausitzring this weekend. And that means that Mikael Sauter will have dropped back to, I'm guessing, about 6th place. Nikita Bedrin still leads the way, sliding his way into turn 1. And then it's Taylor Barnard, then Rasmus Simis, Kasper Stuka, and it looks like Mikael Sauter, although he's lost a fair bit of position because of that little moment into the gravel, he is still in a good points-paying position. We're having a look again at the start, and you can see that the inside row got off very nicely. The outside row kind of went nowhere, and that was a result of Kasper Stuka not getting away, and it was Valentin Kloos behind, who Zach David, who actually ducked out. So Valentin Kloos was blocked as well, and that really was a traumatic start. These drivers getting these Formula 4 cars rolling, and with pretty well 0 traction as well. And then we look again at a replay of the cars into turn 1. And it really is a steep learning curve for these drivers, the stars of the future, very much the drivers that we will be seeing in the senior formulas in years to come. And there is a replay of Mikael Sauter into the Kitty Litty. Fortunately, wise enough to know that if you keep the power on, you can potentially rejoin the track. Of course, there are some circuits where once you are into the gravel trap, you're not coming out again. I think Zandvoort is one of them. Here, just keeping it going, and even the leader, Nikita Bedrin, having a bit of a slide on. The PHM Racing driver still leading the way, and 6.2 seconds over Taylor Barnard. So he really has got to grips, you pardon the pun, with these conditions, and stretched his legs at the front. And the fighting continues further back. Nandavid Birnbakdi, the Thai driver for Genza Motorsports, in 7th place. And Zach David in the number 30 car So Zach David, having made some good progress after early dramas, sees a gap on the inside of Nandavid Birabakti, but Birabakti still holding on to that 7th place. And Zach David, Maltese driver. Well, actually, he's Malta-based. He's a Filipino driver who's Maltese-based, and he's part of the Sauber karting team, making his debut in the ADAC Formula 4 this year. He's just turned 15 years old, so this is a steep learning curve, and I'll tell you what, he's doing well. And what a way to learn in the wet at the Lausitzring, with a very solid concrete wall on the outside as well. And this is the way to do it, isn't it? So the 26 car, Nandavid Birabakti, fighting for all he's worth, but great stuff from Zach David. And of course, being careful not to make contact, not only with the wall, but to not make contact with each other. Lose a front wing, your race is going to be pretty well over, because you'll need to visit the pits. Now, along the pit straight we come. And Birabakti holding on to that position, but Zach David looks to the inside, and Birabakti tries to shut the door. There's a spun Genza car in front who rejoins. Samir Ben, who has had a fair amount of time rotating already, and Jonas Reed comes tiptoeing through. So we've lost Valentin Kloos some time ago. We saw that with him going slowly. Right, this is the battle we've been focusing on. It's the battle of 7th place. Nandavid Birabakti, Zach David to the inside. Great mature driving from these drivers. Having said that, let's just make sure they don't drive into each other. Still, Birabakti holding on to that position, but Zach David making his debut in the ADAC Formula 4 Germany, and really showing a great deal of maturity the way he's handling these conditions. And talking to drivers in more senior classes that are racing this weekend, and they say the conditions are treacherous. So for these young drivers who are relatively inexperienced, it is something else, but they run side by side. It was a great slide from Nandavid Birabakti, not necessarily the quickest way around the corner. He's still holding off Zach David. Finally, Zach David slithers his way through into turn 11. Now, can Birabakti come back at him? Looks like he's going to give it a try up into turn 12, onto the tri-oval, and along the pit straight they come. There will be an element of slipstream here as well, so Nandavid Birabakti relegated down into 8th place, but look, Jonas Reed coming in as well. They know no fear. So Jonas Reed now filling the mirrors of Nandavid Birabakti. So having been in a position where he was defending from Zach David, he's now defending from Jonas Reed and looking to be relegated another spot if he's not careful, because Jonas Reed, recovering from early excitement, finds a route through. And now Samir Ben, who's done a fair few spins, but he's done a good job catching up again, is winding up to pass Nandavid Birabakti. An unusual line into the corner, but it seems to work. He finds some grip somewhere. Birabakti sliding, as indeed do all the cars behind, in fact. But Samir Ben doing a lovely bit of drifting as well. If you're wondering what's happening up front, the reason we're not showing you anything is that Nikita Bedrin is running on his own. Some 6 seconds ahead of Taylor Barnard, and showing great maturity. Here we come again to the inside. This time it's Ricky Lee looking to the inside as Samir Ben, and that is Ricky Lee going around. He rejoins. When the track dries out, it's going to feel like Christmas, I should think, because this is proving to be quite a challenge for these young drivers. We are at the halfway point of the race, and it is still Nikita Bedrin who leads the way. He's just opened up his lead by about another, well over a second over Taylor Barnard. So really taking this by the scruff of the neck as we look again at Nandavid Birabakti and Zach David's battle. And great driving. So many times we've seen fights like this where drivers have ended up losing a front wing or damaging each other, but they gave each other the space that they needed, just enough, not too much, avoiding the car pointing in the wrong direction. And that really was a little bit of a sketchy rejoin, but it all happens, no harm. And Zach David has that 6th place. Ahead of him is Michael Sauter, but he is a long way ahead of Zach David, about 20 seconds ahead. So the man running on his own, Nikita Bedrin for PHM Racing, the driver who is racing under the Italian flag this year, looking for his first win in ADAC Formula 4 2022, and going all the right ways about it. Taylor Barnard, who really needed to take a win here to get himself back into the championship hunt, but has dropped back some 8 seconds now into the clutches of Rasmus Utsimi's and Kasper Stuka. So Taylor Barnard will have his mirrors filled before too long, and the pressure will be on. Having said that, actually looking at the timing screens, Utsimi is a fair way back from Barnard, so maybe if he can just hold it together for the next 13 minutes, 2nd place will still be a good points haul. We are into 13 minutes remaining of this race. Nikita Bedrin leading from Taylor Barnard, Rasmus Utsimi's, Kasper Stuka, Michael Sauter and Zach David rounding out the top 6. Then it's Jonas Reed, Samir Ben and David Birnbachty, Ricky Lee, and Valentin Kloos, who is showing as a non-runner now. So the challenge continues. The number 24 car, Rasmus Utsimi's, with the attention from Kasper Stuka behind. Kasper Stuka, who started this race on the front row, but one of many drivers to have struggled with these conditions, but now fighting back. Kasper Stuka to the inside, and Rasmus Utsimi's the much faster outside line through. But now Michael Sauter getting involved as well. So Michael Sauter, a driver who just gets better and better the more we see him. When he started in ADAC Formel 4 Germany, it's fair to say he was fairly timid, but now has really gained some experience and is proving to be a real star as he comes back from that earlier moment into the gravel trap. Kasper Stuka down to P5, Michael Sauter up to P4. Sauter, he's coming back. Ahead of him is Rasmus Utsimi's. And Kasper Stuka is down a position. It's been really good to welcome us racing back to the Formula 4 category for this event. And Kasper Stuka, one of 3 us racing cars. Really a team who, along Gerhard Unger and Ralf Schumacher, are very much about developing young talent, and so many talented drivers who have come through their ranks. And Kasper Stuka, one of many that they have trained and mentored over the years. This is a great fight. And it is Rasmus Utsimi's in the last of the podium positions. Michael Sauter, who will be frustrated at that early mistake that saw him going off into the gravel trap. He sees a gap on the inside. The inside becomes the outside. And then he switches back to the inside. What a great move from Michael Sauter. He can't quite make it stick though, or can he? He comes sweeping around Rasmus Utsimi's, and Michael Sauter back up into 3rd place, but once again he throws it away, going wide on the corner. And suddenly Kasper Stuka is through as well. If you could see his feet, they'd probably be kicking himself, but you can't. And it's still Rasmus Utsimi's who keeps it all together and holds on to that last of those podium positions. So now Michael Sauter has got 10 minutes to do all that hard work again to get back on the podium. Kasper Stuka, though, lining up Utsimi's. A bit of a twitch under braking. And you can see how wet it is by the amount of rain just on the camera lens. Here's a replay of Michael Sauter's little moment. He goes to the inside, and it is so slippery out there, particularly off the racing line. And he makes the move, but he can't get it slowed down enough into the corner, and suddenly leaves a wide gap on the inside, and the 2 cars behind come sailing through. Michael Sauter has all that hard work to do again. So back down to P5 goes Sauter, but I'm sure he's not settling for that. The 1-2 running very much on their own. Nikita Bedrin leading by 11.742 seconds. And Taylor Barnard now 17 seconds ahead of the fight for third that we've been watching. Here is second place Taylor Barnard. A relatively lonely race, and he has nothing behind, particularly anybody there. There we are. There he is. There is third place all the way back there. In fact, I think that might even be a back marker. So far back is that car. That is the Rasmus Simi's car in third, which is the battle that we have been watching and gripped by all race long. Here comes Rasmus Simis, Kasper Stuka, and Mikhail Sauter into turn 1. Down the little hill, clip the curb. Don't take too much curb because they're not very grippy in these conditions. But Rasmus Simis has been very much keeping his head together and dealing with these conditions in a very mature fashion. Nothing wild, nothing crazy, keeping it pointing in the right direction. He started 5th on the grid. He's made his way up to 3rd. He's had many, many attacks on that 3rd position. And here comes the next one. It's Kasper Stuka once again lining up the number 24 car of Rasmus Simis. And once again, Mikhail Sauter keeping them very much in his line of sight. Now, can Sauter get involved once again? I think he probably could, because he really does have a good feel for these conditions. Simis in P3. This is the fight for 3rd place that we're witnessing. Rasmus Simis, Kasper Stuka, and Sauter. Well, I put the kiss of death on him there, didn't I, by saying he had a really good feel for these conditions. And he goes wide. So Mikhail Sauter once again doing a little bit of grass track racing, and surely that will have dropped him back now far enough that he's going to struggle to challenge for 3rd in the next 6 3/4 minutes. And that releases Kasper Stuka, because he can now make a challenge on Rasmus Simis with a lot less of a risk of losing that position. And there's Valentin Kloos, who we thought had retired from the race. He's been into the pits. He's showing as 11 laps down. So Valentin Kloos is back in. A bit of running, a bit of experience in these conditions could stand him in very good stead, taking into account the weather forecast for this weekend, because this might not be the only race that is held in the wet. Valentin Kloos, another driver who's just turned 15 in the last few months and has joined this series part way through. But the man of the moment, leading by nearly 20 seconds, is Nikita Bedrin for PHM Racing. He comes across to complete another lap. And we'll just have a look as he crosses the line, and we'll see how big that gap is to Taylor Barnard in 2nd place. So the clock is now running. And Bedrin's across. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. We'll come back again in a minute. Oh, we're not going to see. We'll have a look at the timing screens. And the gap between 1st and 2nd, well, it's big. Let's put it that way. I'm still waiting for him to cross. Oh, 15.5 seconds. Okay. So it's still big enough. 15.5 seconds. I think any driver will take that as a lead over 2nd place. So Taylor Barnard well ahead. And then Rasmus Simis some 15 seconds behind them as well. So the 1, 2, 3 very well spaced out, but the fight for 3rd is by no means over. It's Simis at the moment, but Kasper Stuka has got his eyes on a podium position. He only did 2 races out of 3 at Spa, and he's only done the season opener as Kasper Stuka, but he got a 2nd place there, so clearly pretty useful. And Us Racing would not be championing him if he was anything other than a potential superstar. a potential superstar and someone who is a current superstar, Nikita Bedrin, out on his own. 15.5 seconds to the good of Taylor Barnard. Tiptoeing his way around. The gaps ever changing between the cars, mainly because of the very sketchy conditions that we're enjoying here at the Lausitzring. The memories of the heat wave earlier this week seem very distant indeed. Across the line comes Bedrin. It was 15.5 last time around. What will it be this time? Place your bets. There's a fair old weight, whatever it is. Taylor Barnard, here he comes, out of the gloom and the mist. If he had headlights, they'd be blazing. Across the line he comes, 16.037. So once again, Bedrin opening up that gap. And then another long wait before third place emerges from the fog. And it's Rasmus Utsimi's 31 seconds off the lead. And it really does look like Kasper Stuka's challenge for that third place has run its course as Stuka drops back. Mikael Sauter, it looks like fifth place might be the best he is going to get today. And it will still be by far his best result of the season if he brings it home in fifth place, and a nice haul of points. Zach David will be next. So Rasmus Utsimi's did all that he needed to do, because he has had the full onslaught of drivers trying to get past him, mainly Kasper Stuka and Mikael Sauter, but now running very much out on his own. And Rasmus Utsimi's, who's also the fastest rookie driver, so leading the rookie category. Third, the second rookie is Zach David. He's running in sixth place on the road. And Nandavid Birnbachti, who's working his way back up through the pack, is up in 8th, and he is third in the rookies in this race. We are approaching the final 2 minutes of this race 13 of an 18-race season for the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. And it's Nikita Bedrin who leads the way from Taylor Barnard, Rasmus Utsimi's and Kasper Stuka, Mikael Sauter, Zach David, Jonas Reed, and Nandavid Birnbachti, had a Samir Ben, Ricky Lee, and Valentin Kloos, who is still circulating, but very much as a test session. He is showing as some 11 laps down. Conditions aren't improving, are they? And Sauter, you can see just how cautious he's having to be. And you don't get an appreciation of how much of a drop that is into turn 1. You don't get an appreciation of how hard it is to keep it on the track. Nandavid Birnbachti, having worked so hard to get past Samir Ben, will find himself relegated back down the order. Valentin Kloos back into the pits. I should think, even for a test session, it's probably a little bit too much. Clearly some issues with that car that the team are working on. And Valentin Kloos, who has been excellent on his debut here in ADAC Formel 4. This is just his third event in the series. We got a yellow flag in turn 3. I'm looking to see who that is. That's now cleared, so somebody doing a bit of rallycross. And is that Birnbachti going wide? We're into the final lap of the race, and I should think the checkered flag can't come soon enough for these drivers, because it has been a race of endurance. So Nandavid Birnbachti has joined in front of Ricky Lee, who is in 10th place. So Nandavid Birnbachti back down to 9th, and who's that's spun around? It's one of the PHM cars. Now, who is it? Is that anybody significant? Yes, it is. It's Jonas Reed, who was in 7th place. He rejoins just in front of Samir Ben. And I should think anybody who can just keep it pointing in the right direction is probably going to get a really good haul of points today, because there has been an awful lot of action as we look again at Nandavid Birnbachti locking it up into turn 1. Trying to find some grip. There's definitely none to be had out on the green stuff. And that is Jonas Reed doing a beautiful pirouette. through our smeared and wet camera lens. Thank you to our cameramen who bring us these pictures in what are challenging conditions today. But Nikita Bedrin is on his final lap and he's into the final couple of corners. Up into turn 11 he comes. Nikita Bedrin, he's led from lights, and it's going to be a lights to flag victory for the number 15 car. Out across the line he comes. It's Nikita Bedrin who wins race 13 of an 18-race season for the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. It's the first of 3 races this weekend, and I should think that all of these drivers, maybe with the exception of Nikita Bedrin, will be praying for a dry line for the next 2 races. There's 2 races remaining this weekend for the F4 Germany, and they will both be tomorrow. And who knows what the weather will do. The forecast says there is potential for showers tomorrow, but who knows? Here comes 2nd place Taylor Barnard and 3rd place Rasmus Simmies, and he earned that 3rd place. He really did. Taylor Barnard takes a big chunk out of the lead of Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Rafael Camara in 2nd. And in fact, that will elevate Taylor Barnard up into 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Because 18 points for 2nd place, and that is a good points haul for Taylor Barnard. But I can't help feeling he will be disappointed that he couldn't turn that pole position into a win. But 2nd place is better than a non-finish in these conditions. The PHM Racing team bringing home a 1-2 ahead of Rasmus Simmies for Genza Motorsport in 3rd place. Kasper Stuka, the highest of the US racing cars, in 4th. And then in 5th place, someone who has entertained us all race long, always does, Michael Sauter for Sauter Racing in 5th place. Zach David in 6th. And Jonas Reed 7th ahead of Samir Ben. Nandavid Birenbakdi in 9th. And then Ricky Lee in 10th on his debut ahead of Valentin Kloos, who was many laps down, 13 laps down to be precise. So that might have looked easy with a relatively small pack of cards, but it really wasn't. That took every bit of skill that these drivers could lay their hands on.
Very good. That was difficult, huh?
That was indeed difficult.
I had so much oversteer, there's no point to crash the car, especially when I'm fighting the championship.
So you could hear Taylor Barnard saying he had so much oversteer. Understandable in these conditions, the car just not wanting to turn in to the corners. And of course, all the testing and the practice these drivers did was in the dry. All the setting up was in the dry. For many of these drivers, for most of these drivers, it's the first time they will have been to the Lausitzring this weekend. So a new circuit to learn as well. As Rasmus Simmies jumps on the scales. It's not that he's watching his weight, it is because the weight is monitored and regulated, the car and driver. Oh, he's almost as light as me. And I'd say he earned that 3rd place, Rasmus Simmies. The Finnish driver, that was by far his best result of the year as well, a 5th being the best that Simmies has had. Up until now, it's Nikita Bedrin who takes the win ahead of Taylor Barnard. Rasmus Simmies, Kasper Stuka, Michael Sauter, Zach David, Jonas Reed, and Samir Ben rounding out the top 8. And 9th was Nandavid Birenbakdi ahead of Ricky Lee, with Valentin Kloos eventually calling it a day and retiring back to the pits for a nice warm shower, I would not doubt, because the rain is coming down and the temperature is still actually quite high, but conditions have been challenging, and the man in 3rd place, Rasmus Simmies, he withstood all sorts of challenges on that final podium position. Taylor Barnard, who started in pole position, got the jump at the starts and then was beaten by Nikita Bedrin to come home in second place for PHM Racing. But the driver who just held it all together while everyone else was slipping and sliding around, Nikita Bedrin, taking the top step of the podium and a win, his first win for PHM Racing. So congratulations from the PHM team of 1-2. But it was last year's rookie champion, Nikita Bedrin, who brought it home first to take the win, ahead of Britain's Taylor Barnard. Taylor, one of the real up-and-coming superstars, and has come through the Rosberg Racing Academy. He's an ex-karting world champion, and just getting better as the season progresses. And I think these conditions are very much challenging him, testing everything that he knows. And then that fight for third place going the way of Rasmus Utsimi's in the end.
B1, B2.
B1, B2, indeed. You may well shout about that, because that's a great job for PHM Racing. Of course, they've risen very much from what was ADAC Motorsport. And they are proving to be very successful indeed. PHM Racing with 4 cars here this weekend. Ricky Lee was not one of them. That was these for us racing. Jonas Reed, of course, was the other. Valentin Kloos as well. So you can see how challenging those conditions have been just by the amount of water on the track. And this really has tested these young drivers in every way possible. We're just waiting for them to get up onto the podium to receive their trophies. Rasmus Utsimi's wins the rookie race. Zach David second in category. Nandavid Burambakti third. Ruiki Lee on his debut fourth in the rookie category. But it's the overall driver's win that we're looking for. And very shortly, the 1, 2, 3 will join us on the podium. And the PHM team will have a lot to celebrate as they turn their focus to tomorrow's race. Here's third place, Rasmus Utsimi's. Boy, did he have to work hard for that. He kept it together while those around him spun. Second, Taylor Barnard from the UK, but taking the top step of the podium, Nikita Bedrin. And now we await a representative from PHM Racing. And then in a few moments, we should be ready for the Italian national anthem. Nikita Bedrin taking his first win of 2022 in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. Not his first overall, because last year he got a win at Hockenheim and a win at the Nürburgring, but his first this year, and one that really has shown off his skill as he mastered these conditions. Taylor Barnard happy with the second. And Rasmus Utsimi is looking thoroughly disgruntled with third. And clearly feels as though he could have done better. But from the third row, fifth on the grid, he did very well. And there is a trophy for PHM Racing, the team that are nurturing these drivers through the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. The superstars of tomorrow. This is where it all starts in the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. They get to do it all again twice more this weekend because we have race 2 tomorrow morning and race 3 tomorrow afternoon. Who knows what the weather conditions are going to be? It says there might be rain and it says there might not be. Whichever way, these drivers are going to be challenged here at the Lausitzring for what will be races 14 and 15 of this 18 race season. There is confirmation of the points. Taylor Barnard jumps up into second, deposing Rafael Camara. But still a lot of work to do if he wants to close in on Andrea Kimi Antonelli.